Good morning, beautiful people, and all of your livers. Hello, livers. We're going to talk about livers today. We've got wonderful Michelle Gray here, whose information is in the description box and will be on the screen eventually. And we have Erik, my son, on the other side, who is going to help answer some of these questions. Maybe we'll channel the liver. I don't know, but probably we'll just stick with Erik. All right. Before you do anything else, hit the like button. You know you're going to like it. All right. Liver. These are all from the community. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Erik. I love you both.
We love you too. Erik says, I love you so much, Mom. Love you so much.
Oh. So, Erik, what is the most damaging thing we can do to the liver? I'm thinking toxins, alcohol, etc., right?
Well, he says, being a human being and just living, there's toxins in the air. So we're continuously filtering toxins through the liver. But he says, what we have within our control, of course, is our diet. And he says that's a really big piece of it, the
Yeah.
emotions and the diet. He said that when it comes to diet, the worst thing that we could be doing is putting processed foods, um, high sugars. He says like oils, inexpensive oils. He says a lot of the additives that we
Oh,
have now available to us. He says the cheaper the food, the cheaper it's made. If it's in a box, if it's in the freezer, he says you can pretty much bet it's not helping your liver.
okay. Yeah. Mm. All right. What happens to you internally when I have, for example, this person says, a glass of wine? Does it slow the filtration process? And how damaging is that?
Well, he says it depends on the state of the liver to begin with. So he says
Yeah.
having a glass of wine is not damaging to your liver per se. He says there's actually health benefits to having a glass of wine. He said the problem is that if there is already damage to the liver, it's going to slow down the metabolic rate. It's going to
Oh,
slow down the ability to process. And he says, so if you're just having one glass, what it's going to do is, yes, it does slow things down. And he says it actually takes your liver um, like a couple days to
yeah.
process. He's to get back to normal. So he says if you think about every glass of wine or alcohol that you have, he says add a couple days to every glass to the processing. And
Wow.
if you
That
have
makes
a
sense.
sluggish liver with foods and everything, it can take longer.
Yeah. All right. What area of the brain is our liver most connected to, with, and affected by? Hmm.
Well, that's surprising. He says it's the pineal gland.
Really
The pineal
interesting.
gland.
Wow.
Um, okay, so he says there's like a hormone released from the pineal gland
Okay.
that affects the digestion and also the ability to balance. Um, like he's talking about the pituitary, the pineal gland,
Hmm.
the endocrine system, and balance, that it's all connected.
Okay. Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. Is silica bad for you, for the liver?
Silica,
Yeah.
he says not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Okay. How could regenerate every single cell from each organ? Or I don't know. This is a probably somebody who is not a native English speaker. How could regenerate every single cell from each organ?
Well, he says, and when you're regenerating the cells, so he says the liver, any organ in the body, he says our body has the ability to repair itself completely, to repair
Hmm.
all the cells. He says, but we have to remember that there is a big piece to why a process doesn't happen like this. And he says, and that's
Yeah.
because of the belief systems. And he says also the cells are connected to our ancestors and centuries of belief systems as well. So it's not only what we are carrying in this life, but what of our ancestors? What does our family also carry
Mhm.
to the belief of being able to repair the body,
Mhm.
repair the organs? He says it's
Okay.
got to be a combination. He says, do you want to look at your organs as, what am I feeding it? What am I feeding it physically? What am I feeding it emotionally? What am I feeding it mentally?
Yeah.
Because it has to be a combination for it to heal any organ.
Okay. Is the meat versus vegetarianism or veganism, which is better for the liver?
He says in comparison to a meat diet and a vegetarian is definitely
I
vegan,
would think
actually.
so.
He says
Yeah.
without red meat, without dairy, eggs, everything is better for the
Okay.
liver.
Wow. What is the best way to detoxify and cleanse the liver to help support its function? Any specific herbs, supplements, anything that will enhance it and help heal it?
Yes. So he says like leafy greens, eating leafy greens, kale, um, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, changing your diet. He says that is a really big part, changing your diet,
Yeah.
adding in vitamins,
What
um,
vitamins?
um, vitamin D,
Okay.
vitamin C,
Okay.
vitamin B. He's also saying it would be really beneficial to give the liver a cleanse, a detox. So if you're on the path to improving your liver, he says to give the liver a little bit of a rest. And it's interesting because he's showing me, he keeps showing me like the word liver, and he says alive, aliver,
Oh, a library.
alive. And he says it's your life force. So
Yeah.
he says you want to cleanse that life force. So detoxing. He's also saying lemon, using lemon and a high quality apple cider vinegar
Oh,
is a good
a good
using that
detox. What
daily.
about milk thistle? People say milk thistle is good at healing the liver anyway.
He says yes, but he says you want to be careful because some people are not able to use milk thistle.
Oh,
It
okay.
cannot work with everybody or can cause some digestive issues.
Okay.
So he says you want to just kind of know yourself, or of course, check with your doctor before you start taking any
Okay.
vitamins.
All right. What hurts music, crystals are good for? We talked about vitamins and herbs, but so what hurts is good, and maybe what crystals are good for the liver?
Okay, so crystals, he's showing me citrine.
Oh,
He also says bloodstone. He's saying they're detoxifying. They
oh,
help detoxify. He's also saying for hertz. So he says if you keep it at 333
okay.
for the liver,
Hmm.
333 is the beneficial hertz for the liver.
Interesting. So, you know, we do this liver overhaul in the scalar field. That's one that's really a custom service. And it's amazing. This one lady, her son had horrible cirrhosis. Anyway, he went really downhill. So we did the scalar service on him, and he was on the transplant list. And it worked. He's off the transplant. His liver functions are completely normal.
That's
So,
amazing.
maybe the hurts, and of course, the instructions I send to the liver to change its energy helps.
Yes. Yes.
I wish this person would do a testimonial because it could
Oh,
save
yeah.
so many people, but she's too embarrassed.
Mm.
Um, how do other organs help or burden the liver?
So he says the gallbladder, digestive system, like he says, the intestine. So anything that's out of balance will create imbalance in the liver. Anything that's
Okay.
in balance can help the liver.
Oh, so those are good for the liver?
Yes, your intestine. He says
Okay.
your microbiome
Okay.
affects the liver. So having healthy microbiome is very important.
Okay, awesome. I don't think anything harms it except maybe a dysfunctional microbiome, right?
Well, that yes, and that's what he says is it's about balance. The liver likes to be balanced. It
Okay,
likes to be
got it.
balanced. Yeah.
Is liver where emotions of anger are stored?
Yes.
Hmm.
There's anger in that area. There's also resentment, frustration, and he says fear. So that there's a whole category there.
Gosh,
Um, he says resentment and frustration are big
the
ones.
big ones, yeah. How can we release those stuck emotions? I know we do it as part of the main service in the Scalar field, releasing trapped emotions, but how can they do it without doing that? Like maybe hold one of those crystals that you mentioned, bloodstone
Yes,
or
he
citrine.
says so. You could do a
That's good.
combination of using the crystals. He says the frequency would be very helpful, but he also says in addition to that, you want to work with your emotions. He says
Oh,
a great way to release is actually just get out a good old piece of paper and a pencil and write a letter. Write a letter, whether you give it or not. He said just get your emotions out,
yeah.
release them. He said
Okay.
discharge them out of your mind because he says it's the mind, the consciousness that needs to have that release. So you want to work with your intention.
That's true. What does our liver, this is cool, our liver want us to know? And how do our livers view us?
That's a good
Mine's
question.
not speaking to me.
Erik just showed, I'm mad at you. I am not speaking to you. Okay. So the first thing that he says is the liver loves you. The liver loves life. It loves you.
So change the I to an O, a lover.
Yes. Yes. He says, good one, mom. Good one. But yes, it loves you. What was the second question? The second one?
Oh, oh, how do they view us? What does our liver want us to know besides that they love us?
Oh, the okay. Okay. He says that the liver is like our life, ever changing. It
Mm,
can regrow, it can change, it can transmute. So never feel like you're stuck in something. You have the way to be able to regenerate, to renew yourself. So
interesting.
the liver wants the, oh, right, because Erik says the liver, when it's blocked up or when it's heavy with emotions or with toxins, it's stagnant. And
Yeah,
so he says a stagnant life becomes depressed and anxious.
yeah.
So he says the liver wants you to know that if you remove stagnancy out of your life and look for motivation, you will continuously be able to renew yourself.
Awesome. All right. How do heavy metals affect the liver? And also different pathogens, EBV, Epstein-Barr virus, Streptococcus. How do they affect, or is our liver able to handle that? Heavy metals and
He
pathogens.
says it's a buildup, so it becomes a buildup. So without detoxification, he says it's heaviness, it's stagnation.
Okay. So basically, detox, detox, detox. Now, what about does the liver agree with the medical medium's cleanse protocols? And what does it think of liver gallbladder flushes that aim to clear out gallstones? So let's start out with, what do you think about the medical medium's cleanse protocols for the liver?
Erik says it approves. It approves for most people. He says there's some people, depending on where the liver is, it may not be the. He says it can be too harsh. The cleanse
Okay.
can be too harsh for them. They might need to slow themselves into it.
How will
But
they
he says
know?
that how would they know?
Yeah.
He says if you suspect that you're having problems with your liver, you might want to have some testing, use
Okay.
your liver enzymes.
Mm.
If you're having a lot of physical issues in your body that are relating to the liver,
Okay.
he says most people can handle it, but if somebody is in a late stage with their liver,
Okay.
they may not be able to handle it the same because Eric says it's
Oh.
kind of like shocking the liver. It might be too
Oh
much.
yeah. Okay. What do you think about the liver gallbladder flushes? It's supposed to get rid of, I never heard of that. Get rid of our gallstones.
Yeah, he says that's good. He
Okay.
says the liver likes those. Yes,
Oh,
same thing as with the medical medium that he said. Um, it all depends on the state of your situation, how
okay.
far it is.
What do you think about glutathione supplementing supplement to support the liver, Eric? Nice short
He's just answers
answers.
yes, yes,
It's good?
yes.
Okay, good. Do we have the ability to reverse liver damage holistically? If so, how? We talked about 333 megahertz or hertz. And we talked about citrine and bloodstone. Those are two holistic things. Scalar energy, of course.
hmm
But what else to reverse the liver damage?
He says EFT tapping,
Oh,
he qigong, tai chi, anything that starts to move energy in that meridian area. He says there's
yeah,
a channel that goes all the way. He's showing like actually from the inner thigh, the groin, all the way up. So he says any kind of movement across the solar plexus area, working with energy is very beneficial. And so, yes, the solar plexus is the related chakra with
oh,
the liver.
that's one of the questions. All right, good. Uh, and how can we utilize the solar plexus chakra to maintain and enhance the liver? Do we do tuning that use the sound associated with that chakra or anything?
He says sound is it works really well. He says this is a he says guys, this is about a little bit of trial and error, seeing what way you like to work, what way do your chakras best respond to the work that you're doing. So he says some might really respond well with tuning forks.
Yeah,
He says you can use the solar plexus for not giving me the tone for it, but he keeps saying that there's breathing exercises and sounds that you can make to also balance them as well. He says a regular work, just like with your car, he says if you don't change the oil on your car and you don't pay attention to the maintenance of it, it's
yeah,
going to get all bunged up and messed up. So he says you want to get used to, if you're not already, to continuously working with your energy and cleansing those chakras. He says you wouldn't drive around with a dirty oil filter now, would you?
no. All right. Can you live without a liver or not? Can you live without a liver? Maybe you're an alien or something.
Yeah, currently no.
Of course not. Do organs such as the liver have some version of past lives? Cool.
So he said, yes, actually, they do, but it's more to do with the cells that hold the memory. So when he was talking a
Oh,
little earlier about the liver carrying generations,
mm,
centuries, he says,
yeah,
of information. So in that way, yes, he says it's their consciousness. So they are connected to everything.
yeah.
Yeah. So yes, it
Interesting.
does.
Can you control the aging of the liver through diet only, or are there more things like frequency, meditation? Does the liver age? I mean, it regenerates all the time, but I guess it could age.
Well, he says the organs do. So the liver does age to a degree. It does. But he says a healthy liver, so a person could have a late stage, like a fatty liver, could have a cirrhosis, and they're capable of regenerating it and youthing that liver. He says that's the benefit of that organ, is it consistently can renew itself
Yeah.
if you are willing and able to work with your liver from all of those different angles, from the physical, from the energetic,
Okay.
from the emotional. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Why is the liver the organ that can regenerate, but most others, I mean, skin can't? Because God knew we were going to abuse it.
So Erik said it's actually okay, that's very interesting. I've heard it this way. He says if you think about the silver cord,
Yeah.
the cord that we have that connects us, he says, so we've got consciousness, our connection to spirit that is hosted in that liver area. And he says, so consciousness is ever expanding. We are ever changing, like he was saying earlier. We're ever changing. We are ever growing. And so the liver follows suit. It regenerates, it grows because that's expansion of consciousness.
Oh, wow, that's cool. What's the liver's favorite food?
He said the greens.
Any greens?
Loves the
Okay.
greens. Yeah, particularly kale.
Oh, I knew it. Ugh. Does eating apples every day detoxify the liver? I
Yes,
know
it
we
helps.
talked
Yes.
about apple a day.
Yes.
How about magnets? Can you heal a liver with using magnets?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I wonder if there's anybody that does that. Uh, okay, let me see. Oh, how does the liver feel about the latest vaccine? We can't say it out loud because they'll.
Well, Erik says some livers, he's like showing like a superhero costume. Like some livers are like no big deal, and some livers have a little bit of trouble with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What nutrient benefits the liver most, and what are we most deficient in that harms the liver? I think we answered part of that at least.
Mm-hmm.
What deficiencies do we have that harm the liver?
He said D.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, and also deficient in magnesium.
Okay. A lot of people are. They don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Does consumption of liver, close the liver's ears, in the food benefit our health, eating liver?
No.
Okay. What function of the liver are most overlooked?
He said actually the spiritual aspect, the
Oh,
connection to consciousness.
okay. Interesting.
It's not well understood at this time.
Yeah. Does the liver want us to talk to it? Be acknowledged. Hey, how you doing? Sorry about last night.
Yes, Erik says all of your organs, your entire system wants to be spoken to because he says, keep in mind, he says, if you were to look at our universe and look at all the planets and understand that there is a source, that all the planets that we are all connected to, well, you are this universe. This is your universe, and all
Yeah.
of your organs and everything about you are the planets, and they are listening to your direction. So, what it is that you are speaking and doing has a great effect on all of the consciousness that is listening to you. So, he says, you want to add speaking to your body. He says it wouldn't hurt to say, hey, liver, you're doing a really good job. You're
Yeah.
getting better and better each day. Keep up the good work.
I like to do that in a busy street and see what happens.
Yeah.
So is there a certain planet associated with the liver in our solar system?
He says Jupiter.
Jupiter, okay.
Hmm.
How does the liver form in a fetus? Oh my God,
That's interesting. How does it form?
yeah.
Okay, I'm getting this visually. I don't know how I can explain this. He shows it like multiplying cells.
Yeah. It's a mesenchyme and it just grows and it changes into different organs. It's
Yeah,
embryology 101. I love that.
it's a pretty cool visual.
Yeah, I can just see it. Why are transplants more successful with certain organs? Like I think the liver and the kidney, they tend to be more successful. Is it just the body doesn't react to it as a foreign body as easily, or what?
He says it's like the balance of the body from one body to another, it's easier to assimilate to match the balance of another body.
Oh, okay. This is cool. Why do orcas kill sharks just for their liver? Well, first of all, is that true?
He's saying it has something to do with a picking up of the scent or the vibration of it. So it
Okay.
gives off a vibration.
Mm.
So it's like a detector. So it's not necessarily that they're hungry for the liver. It has something
Okay.
to do with how they detect.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
heard that
is there
before.
something special about shark livers?
He says they're healthy. They're generally very healthy,
Okay.
strong.
Okay. How does the body react energetically when transplantation is involved? I mean, how do you do as an organ? How do you feel about being replaced in transplant surgery? And how does the new one feel? It's cool.
Erik says the liver doesn't tend to mind being in another host. It doesn't, as long as it's not, when he says we would know it as rejection,
Yeah.
most of them, he says they tend to forget that they're in another host, but they bring with them, he says, much of the vibration that has been picked up on from the other body.
Okay.
So they become, he says he doesn't want us to use the word parasite, but kind of like a parasite where it attaches in and thinks of itself as this is the new body.
Uh-huh.
He says that there's really not a big deal for the liver. The liver is very flexible with
Okay.
that, but he says there's a lot of purpose to the transplant as well. And right. And he says the consciousness, because it brings some of that energy of the consciousness of somebody else.
Oh, wow. And it could be a living donor too, obviously.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. My kids used to love on Thanksgiving. Their favorite thing would be when I take the stuff out, the giblets of the liver. They love to feel the liver. Like, ooh. All right. How did Source come up with the idea? And this is our last question of constructing the liver in the human body to remove toxins and waste from our blood. How did it come up with that idea?
How did Source come up with the idea?
Maybe it's as simple as, well, it was necessary.
That's how Erik's saying it. He says it was just a necessary part of the evolution of the body.
Right.
He says you have to have a filtration system.
Yeah, and you have the kidneys, but they don't filter everything out. Plus, you also need an organ that will produce a certain clotting factors, and it does a lot more than just filter people. The spleen also filters certain things. So, yeah, I mean, it's very multi-talented. It aids in digestion. So, okay.
He says the liver is like the protects from chaos in the body.
Oh, interesting. I can see that. Very important to homeostasis. Mm-hmm. All right, great. I want you to hold on. I'll stop the recording, but you guys, please subscribe, hit the like button because I know you like it, and hit the notification bell. Give us that thumbs up. Check out Michelle Gray in the box below. And bye, Michelle. I love you. Bye, Erik. I love you. I love all of you guys. Kiss your livers today.
Yes.
I'd like to see that. All right, bye.